Alright, I should now be streaming. Anyway, hello and welcome to a new stream in which I am building a city in Classic. We're still in version 19A_06. And that's before I get started, I would like to show a few things that I have built in between these streams. Give me a second. For some reason, chat isn't showing. I'm not working. However, time to show what I've built. Firstly, I've got these stands over here. I like to imagine that, for example, this could be like a newspaper stand. If here's a hot dog stand, and I've decided to use some sponges here. I like to imagine they are sort of signs with some text because you can't really have small text in Classic. So I just like to imagine that the sort of spots from these sponges somehow represent the text. Other things that I've built are these two houses over here with different styles. There's this one, which is sort of a house where the idea was that we sort of a tiered design, where the house at the bottom would be made out of sort of four squares, and as it will, higher floors would be there are sort of less and less squares. So, for example, yeah, hopefully that explanation makes sense. At the bottom, we get sort of a kitchen with a dining area. Above it, there's a bedroom along with a bathroom that also leads to a balcony. Because every time one of these squares gets removed, it gets sort of replaced with a balcony. On the third floor, there's another bedroom, sort of master bedroom, large bed, table, place of clothes, and then access to balcony as well. And we go stairs. There's a sort of a game room, with this game room along with a balcony. And at the top, we've got one more balcony, which just allows us to look around and see how the world looks like. I think it's nice like this. Now to the second house, which has like a different design. First we got this entryway. Oh, I got some sort of shelves we can put away our shoes and a place for some coats and stuff, which leads into a hallway from which you can like a kitchen, a bathroom, master bedroom, a living room, which leads and a entrance into the garden where I've got a terrace, there's a table, bench you can sit on, grill, and a table with some seats. And if we go back inside, we can go upstairs. And upstairs we've got storage area, hallway, game room, where you've got a table which you can use to play some tabletop games, a storage area for the games, a TV with a console with some more storage, and a bedroom, bed, some tables actually, and another TV, console, and an armchair. Besides these, I've also built some garages next to them so that these people can have a place for their cars in case well, it starts snowing, something like that. Anyway, those are all the builds that I've built, but I've also done some other stuff in preparation for this stream. I've built in some dirt over here, but that's not for this stream. But the thing that I've prepared for this stream is this large open area where I've sort of decorated the dirt that was here and also added this wall of sorts that's sort of holding back the terrain. I've also added some barriers, guardrails, so that cars don't fall off. Anyway, now it's time to talk about the plans that I have got for this area, which basically you might remember that in the last stream, you might ask me if I plan to build a office building, so large office building, and I do plan to do that in the future, but I don't feel like I have enough materials to start building that right now, but it got me thinking a bit, because when you think about it, cities sort of change all the time, things get built, so I thought it would be interesting to like have something like that here, basically have a construction site to make it look like this city is still expanding, because all of the other builds are sort of finished. You got finished houses that people can move in, other finished stuff. So nice to have a construction site, as I said. So I'm gonna start now by placing in some stone pillars, which will represent concrete pillars. But I decide where I want them, where I want the first one. I think over here might be a good spot. The pillars will be 3 blocks tall, with the last block representing the next floor. And next up I need to decide the distance between them. I think 7 blocks should be good. Oh, this should be enough in terms of width. Now I need to decide how long do I want this build to be. I think this should be enough. So now I'm gonna start. I think this should be big enough, so now I'm gonna start adding the other pillars on the inside of this rectangle. Which is made easier by the fact that I don't need to actually count. and it seems that I made a mistake while placing some of these stones. There we go. And now I'm just gonna make them taller and at the floor. Seems like I forgot to play the music, just like I did in past streams. And now it's time for the floor slash ceiling. It's quite a lot of block placing. Anyway, I'm getting close to finishing the first floor. At least in terms of structure. And that is the first floor finished. Now I'm going to add the second floor, which will be basically the same as this one. My plan is to have sort of 3 floors, where the third floor will only have the pillars without the ceiling, which means that Sarah stream will be particularly interesting in terms of what's being built. I'll save my location just in case. There we go. Now I don't need to worry about falling off. And now that the boring part of counting is finished, I can just place in the pillars once again. And now it is time to fill in the ceiling again, which won't be particularly interesting for ink. Although this time building the ceiling will be a bit harder for me since I need to be careful not to fall off actually. And now that the second floor is finished, it is time to move. Almost finished, but once I finish it, it is time to move on to the third floor, which will only have the pillars. And I should be able to get to the third floor just by teleporting. Anyway, now it's time to place the pillars once again. And now that the third floor is finished, it is time for me to move on to the floor of the first floor. My plan is to dig out all of this dirt and replace it with stone, which represents sort of the foundation of this house. Now, while I take away this dirt, there is something that I would like to mention, just something that I found interesting, worth mentioning, which is that in between these streams, I've been doing a little bit of math, of estimations, because you see, my plan for this world is sort of to fill this world with builds to turn it into a big city of sorts. And from what I've seen in MC Edit, it seems I've filled about 1/4 of it. That is 1/4 of the surface, because I only feel like the surface. I don't think it's very necessary to like fill the underground as well, the sky as well. Anyway, as I said, I've looked at the MC8 and I've noticed that with this construction site, I have built about 1/4 of this world. So I say with this construction site because it 1/4 once I finish this, and based on my estimations, well, I have estimated that I wouldn't be able to finish this construction site in this stream, so instead I decided to estimate that I would be able to finish it by the end of this week, or rather by the end of next week, I meant to say. Of course, I'll likely be able to finish it sooner, if not in this stream, but that isn't important, since this is only a rough estimation. But anyway, if I finish it at the end of the next week, it will mean that it would have taken me at the current form, actually. But if I were to finish it by the end of this stream, it would mean that it would have taken me about 78 days to build 1/4 of this world. This is a huge world, which means that 1/4 is the same size as a normal world. But anyway, it's taken me 78 days to build 1/4 of the world, which means that to build the remaining 3/4 will take me another 234 days if I'll keep going at the same speed. Of course, this figure isn't accurate because I might build at different speeds. And there's also the fact that I will also be playing sort of in-depth in between before playing 0.40 because I got something special for that, so that will affect the time as well. But either way, what I'm trying to say is that we'll be in Classic for quite a while, which means that it will take a while before I get to InfDev, which some people might like, and some people might like it, but Safari might not. Sure, but currently I'm going at my own speed, my own pace. Although that pace might change once I get to InfDev Alpha and versions like that, because the reason that I'll be staying so long in Classic is because I want to build this world over in the InfDev and up. The InfDev and up versions, I'll have some infinite world where I can just keep expanding the city. But anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. And there we go, finished placing 4. It was probably quite boring to watch, but it won't get much better. Now, the next thing that I would like to add is a fence of sorts, because all the construction sites that I've seen have got like fence around them, which is necessary to keep unauthorized personnel out. I think all of the fences that I've seen were metal fences, but we don't really have any metal blocks here. The closest things that are in this version to like metal blocks would be like stone and gravel. Plus a few. So I've decided to use like blocks instead. Build a similar fence to one that I have over there around the satellite dishes. Quite remember design, but if you don't, you'll see what I mean by build this fence. And over here the gap will be a little larger because this place will be entrance to the construction site that these construction vehicles will use to get in. and Slash made these last parts too small, and we all fixed that and then start adding sort of blanks in between so that sort of people can't really walk through this fence. And there will be 2 layers of these banks. And now that the fence is complete, since I missed the part, but now that it is basically complete, it is time for me to do another boring thing, which is to replace all of this grass with dirt, because I feel like it's kind of more realistic that there would only be dirt on the construction site, since all of it usually gets like flattened by heavy equipment and stuff. So I'm gonna need to sort of rip it all off and then place in the dirt again, which will take quite a while, but I think I'll be using auto clicker to make things faster. And also to sort of prevent grass spreading while digging it away, I'm gonna place in some sort of borders that should make things easier, because grass spread is kind of fast in these versions. Originally I was planning to do it later, however I've realized that it will be better to do it now, so that it will be easier once I add or like some other of the decorations I plan to add. And I think this should be enough subdivisions. However, before I start taking away the grass, I'm gonna wait a bit and add some sort of decorations on the outside, like on the inside of this construction site, like for example piles of rubble that might accumulate while the construction is being built. There might also be some construction material lying around. And I've just also remembered that there's something that I've forgotten to add, which I wanted to add, which is an elevator shaft. So I'm thinking about where to place it. over here might be a good place. I think this side should be good. So now I'm gonna make it go sort of upwards. This is the highest quality classic shader. Literally playing in classic. So it's not shader. Although not sure if it's and there we go. This should be good enough for an elevator shaft. So now I'm gonna start taking away the dirt, which will take a while, of course. You can't hear the game at all because Classic doesn't. This version of Classic doesn't have any sounds. but I get all the grass, but just before teleporting I've noticed that a spot of grass appeared. And with that, I think I should have all of the grass. I'm just gonna check real quick to see if I got any remaining. As you can see, I've managed to spots, unfortunately. And now that that is done, I'm gonna get rid of these folders and start placing in the dirt itself again. And now that I've got rid of all the boulders, it is time to do the boring activity of placing in all the dirt. And there we go. I believe I've placed in all of the dirt, which means that the most boring part of the construction is finished. So now I'm just gonna quickly look around to see if I spot any grass, just in case. I don't think I've spot any since I made sure to thoroughly eradicate it from here. But it's better to check it so I feel better. And it seems that there isn't any. So now it is time to move on to some slightly less boring stuff. And one of the things that I decided to do is add some scaffolding, which I've decided to make out of blocks and planks. I think those are really the best materials for this. And I added some clear sides leading all the way to the top. Not sure if you can tell, but I never actually used any scaffolding in real life, so I'm not sure how it's constructed like that. And the next set of scaffolding I'm gonna add a bit further away. Should be good. must say I didn't think that this build would be quite so repetitive when I came up with it. But, oh well, I've already started building it, so I might as well finish it. Plus, I haven't really been able to come up with anything more unique and interesting, so I just decided to build this thing. And how did this grass appear here, I wonder? Oh, but I've just realized how. It's because it sort of spread from this corner. So I think to solve it, I'm just gonna replace it with stone. This way it won't spread here anymore. good thing that I spotted it relatively early, that way it didn't spread too far. Anyway, now it is time to build more scaffolding. And it should be enough scaffolding. So now I'm just gonna move on to other stuff, but before I do that, I'm just gonna quickly walk around to see if there isn't any grass that sort of spread in, just like it did over in that place. And it seems that we are safe, so I'm gonna move on to first step now. And the first thing that I'm gonna build is sort of a small building where the workers can sort of stay during the whole building. Maybe they can use it when they are sort of when it's raining, or it's a building where you can have like the fridge with their food and other stuff. As you can tell, I haven't never really been in a construction site, so I don't really know how this thing works, but based on what I've seen. And I think I'm gonna use stone and gravel for this build. I think this should be big enough. I've decided that the floor will be pink right now. I'm gonna make it out of gravel. It will be better. And I've decided that the ceiling will be made out of stone. And now it is time to add some stuff on the inside, like a refrigerator to keep in your food. Some tables and chairs to sit at them. And maybe like a vending machine for stuff or something for storage. I'm not sure what it would be. Like for example, like blueprints and stuff. Oh, like blueprints is the correct term, I think. This should be good enough. And now next to it will be a porta potty. I think that's what it's called. So basically, toilet. And it might be a bad idea to build some more since this is a rather large construction site. think this should be enough, and now I'm gonna move on to some other stuff. I think that one of the things that is add some construction material instead of lying around so that it can be used later. I'm also gonna try to make some equipment, like a cement mixer. That's what it's called in English. Or at least I'm gonna try. There we go. I think that kind of looks like equipment. Be good enough. Now I'm just gonna add more construction material, like some bunches. Not sure what sort of material they would be, but they would be here. And while building it, I've also remembered that there is one thing that I've forgotten to do while building this thing, which is to add some windows, since I want the builders to be able to see outside when they are here, just in case that something were to happen. And now I'm gonna move on to the building part of the construction site, and then some more stuff on the inside, some rubble, building material, stuff like that. I think that it will make things look more interesting, so it's not just empty in here. and I think that this should be good enough. We are almost at 2 hours of streaming, so I think I'll end this. I've got, because I don't really want to start building anything more. I was planning on building a sort of brain. However, I feel like that would just take too long, and I don't want to start building it at the end of this stream. So anyway, that will be it for this stream. I'm gonna finish this construction site of camera, and once I'm done, I'm gonna update to the next version, which I've got some plans as to what I want to build. Firstly, I would like to build some sort of playgrounds of stream. One playground sort of over here, and also go some sort of a beach area over here with some stuff. I haven't yet decided what I'm gonna do there, but I will have sand, so make a beach over here once I update the next version. After that, I have plans for the next stream, which is to build a big hotel that will look nice. And another thing that I've also planned, which I won't be doing on stream, is a circus. I haven't yet decided if I'm gonna do it like when I'm exactly gonna build this. Maybe I'm gonna build it after I finish the playground or after the next stream. But I think this will be interesting since that will allow me to use the love blocks or wool blocks that will be introduced in the next version. But anyway, that will be it for this stream, and I will see you in the next one.